Hi, welcome back to another episode of Ben's Machines. We're going to continue working at reassembling the LS tractor XR3135. Let's just dig right in. Alright, so I guess today what we're going to do is we're going to install the engine control unit. This is the original engine control unit for the tractor and the original wiring harness. It's held in place with these four 10mm bolts. And so I'm just going to grab these and this and let's put it on the tractor. Okay, so it's a bit tricky getting all this. So for now, I'm just going to lay the harness over here. So let's get the bolts in here. Just gonna put these snug. Okay, that's done. Next, before I sort the wiring harness and make the connections, I'm just going to put the plastic guard that goes over top of here. So here's the plastic guard. It uses two 10mm bolts. Okay, and then just snug this up. All right, the next component we're going to install is the air filter. Here's the air filter, and here are the two 12mm bolts that hold the air filter in place. So the air filter goes on like this. So the filter side is on this side. It says top. So that lines up properly with this. So I'll just take these bolts out. Put some anti-seize on and then we'll install it. Put it in place for now because I gotta go get a number 12 anyway. Okay, so I'll just install these two 12mm bolts. I'm going to put these two bolts hand tight because right here on this bracket, this is where the mass airflow sensor is installed. So we're going to put that on next. So because there's a pipe that connects the sensor to the air intake, I'll wait until that hose is installed before we torque these bolts down. So let's get the mass airflow sensor now. So here's the mass airflow sensor made by Continental, made in Germany. And this has to be installed directionally. So there's an arrow here showing the airflow. So air comes into the air filter here and exits the air filter canister in this direction, heading towards the motor. Therefore, the mass airflow sensor must be installed like this. I think it's a number 10, yep. Just snug these up. Let's start dealing with this wiring harness. So, okay. We know that these components attach up here. I'm going to snap this 40 amp fuse that goes here, and these relays, they mount right up here on these bolts. But before we go ahead with that, there's some rubber boots that go over top of this. So I'll take out these bolts and I'll get the rubber boots and I'll show you what that looks like. This is what I'm talking about with these rubber boots. Essentially what they are, they're just, I think they just provide some measure of protection to the electrical components. So you just slide these over top like this. And then just insert the bolts to hold them in place. There's one. So this harness has to swoop around here. This is the mass airflow sensor, so this whole bundle has to get up there. So let me try disconnecting this. Okay, so I've disconnected this. I'm gonna send this up. So the mass airflow sensor, it ties in to here, like that. And I think these come up through here. Up here like this. Let me just set that there. This is very easy to connect and disconnect, either to go around this or to stay in front of that. Let's see what we have here in terms of the knowns. So this is my positive battery terminal. So that has to be up here. Okay, because this is the battery box, therefore this, you know, this belongs over here like this. And this end, obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but this end needs to get terminated onto the starter, because this is what's powering my, this is what's energizing my starter. So I believe that this wire has to terminate onto the starter over here. Okay, so this is the first time I'm setting this up. So I'm having, this is my first time I'm seeing where some of the ports go. I thought that these two eyelets are terminated up here, up front. So I'll just put that in there for now temporarily. We're just sort of mapping this out here for the first time. So, you know, bear with me on this. So I'm going to disconnect mass airflow sensor just yet because it appears that this bundle of wires, I think, terminates there. This can go like that. This will go behind. There's no clip, so I can either go over top or I can go underneath. I'm going to go underneath for now. Clip that back in, and then I'm going to move over here. I believe this bundle actually goes in right here. Oh, I know. Look at this, everybody. Look at that. You pull this up, insert it, and then probably push down to lock it in. Ah, okay. So let's try it. Here we go. Okay. Push it in. And then push down. Look at that. These little plastic clips sort of like guide the connector in place. And there you go. Boom. So that goes there. That's locked. Okay, and then this one I'm gonna line it up there. Okay. So I'll see if I can shoehorn this in place. Open this up so it's ready to receive the connector. Maybe wiggle ever so slightly, and then pull the thing down and then click. There you go. See how this looks? So the wire, this is quite tight, but it's in place now. It's hanging there. And this is coming up like this. Mass airflow sensor. Maybe what I'll do is I'll make it go across the top. I'll come across the top like this. Okay. Come across. Okay. So now maybe moving over onto the right hand side. Remember this connector we disassembled or we disconnected? Maybe it goes right here, folks. See, there's a hole. That could be maybe a hole used to keep those two together. But the other end of this bundle is right here. So for now, let's just get them connected again. Wait for the click. There, that's clicked in. And there's a little, you see that there's a little plastic anchor port that we'll have to maybe come back and figure out where that might be. But at least the connection's been made, and this I suspect is used to keep this tidy. So let's wrap that around here a bit. May have to come back and do something about that, but it looks like this looks like there's not too much tension on that. So we're just sort of figuring things out as we go. Back down here, we have this one that needs to be terminated. This is identified as not used. This connector is in place, and this is the positive terminal for the battery. So we need to find out where this goes. Okay, and we have the negative battery terminal already in position. Here it is right here, like this. So that and that would be how they would connect to the battery. This is just basically the battery hold down bracket. And these are ground wires. So I believe they go there. This is marked as not used, so probably at the end we'll coil this up and we'll find a place. So the next thing to do is we need to find a connection for this. Here it is. I have a connector here. It's not terminated anywhere. And how would that get all the way over? Could it get all the way? Oh, look, that could work, guys. Let me disconnect this for a sec. See if I can get this a little bit organized. So if I take that off, take this off for a sec, put that here, put these under here like this. Okay, and then as you can see, all this, like this can kind of tuck in here in the back like that. This wire bundle basically has to go, it probably sits in here like this. But if I go like this, okay, around like that, this will have to stay up front because it's my positive battery terminal. So we'll just lay him inside, back here, out of the way. He's not hurting anybody, just like that. It could be maybe a diagnostic connection for the ECU. So we'll put that like that. Okay, positive terminal connector will tie into here. This can travel this way now, around. And he has to mate up with this connector right here. I'd like to have him maybe tuck in along the side of the engine. So maybe I'll fish him through here like this, down like this, up by the starter, and then this will go back here. He can come across like this, put it into the mode where it can accept the pins or the connector, turn it, line it up, and then pull in the snap there. Maybe we can see if there's any points where this bundle can get anchored. Oh, yeah, it has one of these connectors which sort of like is similar to this, that it can attach to a peg or something. But for now, what I'm gonna say, guys, is I'm just gonna leave connected for now. The big success or the big story here is we managed to lay out this wiring harness more or less where it has to go. What I've done is that I've disconnected this and I've moved the connector in behind the fuel return line. Here is an existing wire bundle that was here, and there's that little tab I was telling you about that that had my connector not been broken, see how this is broken? It's partially broken. So let me see if I can still get it to partially engage with that. It basically just slides in. So I think I changed my mind again, guys, about this. I'm gonna run the mass airflow sensor wire underneath this bracket, because otherwise it kind of comes up like this. So I'm gonna just put it underneath here. I think it's safer there. And then what we'll do is we'll come back to this point here where we have the positive battery terminal. So for this, I think what I'll do is similarly with what we did with this other wire bundle, is I'll maybe run it around like this. I have a battery here I'm going to use as a reference. Here's a battery. I don't know if that is actually that would actually fit in there. I think this battery is larger, but the positive terminal is on the far back, so I think that could work if I bring this all the way back to here like this, like to this corner. This basically kind of represents the height of where the battery is going to be, but there is a little bit of resistance here. The other option is we just go around this side of the bracket and go around this way. So for now, like, let me connect this to the wiring harness, okay? So that will be here like this. The negative battery terminal is up here, and that's gonna go like this. Okay, so I think that's looking right or correct. With respect to the positive battery terminal, I have it run like this. So it comes across, it basically goes underneath, like along this plate, comes down here. I've got it tucked behind some of the fuel lines, and I have it terminated right here on the starter, and I've got it installed there right here tight. And if we go back over to the battery box area, I still think that where we have it positioned here on this side of the bracket, I still think this could work. It is tight though. I think maybe by having it coming over this side really is pushing it with alignment here. It's possible that if by having it on the inside of this, we might actually have a better fit. And I don't know if I can actually do it now with all this attached. Let's try it. Life is about trying things, isn't it? I think that is where that actually belongs. Fit him around like this. Okay, there. Let's get him in there like that. Okay, that's not too tight. It comes straight off like this. And now I have a bit more room to get this battery terminal connected. And let's bring him across. Tie him in. Okay. That will go like that. The other possibility is that this whole entire branch maybe should go on this side of the bracket. See what I mean? maybe what I'll do is I'll disconnect this line and have him come, and this one, I'll come behind on the back side of this plate, and that way it'll maybe free up more space. Let's try that. Okay, so what I've done is I've disconnected this one over here, this connector that was by the starter. And now, what I'm going to do is get this to come across on this side of this bracket. Okay, so like now we'll fish him around like this. So we'll come back in a bit later and put him in place. Now for this is that spare wire. Maybe what we'll do about this spare wire is let's just tuck him in behind. Now he's tucked in behind. And you see this? Now that has a little bit more degree of freedom to connect. And the only thing I'll do next is I'll disconnect these ground straps over here, and I'll route them along the back here, right underneath these hoses, flat on the base plate here, like this. There we go. Put that back in. Okay, we'll come back in there later and we'll tighten that number 12 bolt down. Okay, so this looks good. This is our battery positive. It's in the good spot. Right here, just in the front. I think that will be okay. Basically kind of go there, up there like that. Okay, I think I can live with that. This will come up here like this. So now we'll go back over to this side of the engine, and I'll run this, I'll feed this connector wire back through, tuck it out, tuck it along the side of the engine, and then just slide, hopefully try to slide that thing back onto that little tab. I'll reinstall this battery hold down plate. Okay. Well, that went far better than I anticipated. Just because I want to get all my wiring connections all completed. Let's install the hood mount. That's over here. That's what this is. This lovely bracket is held in place with 4 bolts on the top of the engine and 1 bolt up here. Here's the bottom of that bracket. There's 4 bolts. It comes and sits right in here, right on the back of the engine here, right where my fingers are pointing, right down there. Right here. Let me use my pointer. See? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 over there. Okay, so let me see if I can get this in place. Just drop that in place. I have the bracket in place, so the hood basically mounts right on here like this, and the hood cylinder that props up the hood also connects on here. So okay, so now we're working on the hood mount. The hood mount has a 12 millimeter bolt right here, and it has the 4 18 millimeter bolts right here on the back side. So I put the bolts in right here. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to tighten this bolt here. Okay. So that one's tight. I'll switch over to my 18 and I'll go in and I'll tighten those 4 bolts in the back. Okay, so I have the 4 bolts on the engine tightened down, and I have this bolt up here tightened down. The next thing we're going to do is install these 2 10 millimeter bolts up here that hold this sensor in place right here. So this bolts are just mounts or bolts on right up here like this, and then this hose will connect into the exhaust. So let's see here. That looks good. Get my 10 millimeter, tighten that up. You don't want to tight or torque this down too much, because this is just plastic. You'll break it, even though there's a little bit of a metal sleeve that prevents that from collapsing. Okay, so that's in place. This tube will be installed about here. That will probably be in the next video. I think maybe the last thing we're gonna install today is the gas shock that holds the hood open. So this tractor has a gas shock. You see these commonly on vehicles that hold up your tailgate. And this just basically props up the hood once you need to service the engine. And this is installed, or this is bolted right here on top of the engine. So that goes there like that. And I'm just using a number 12 nut on this side. And I'll just put that hand tight for now, just because I have no immediate plans to install the hood. But I just want to get this item installed. So I'll just lay that there for now. So I think we're going to call this a wrap for this video. We got a lot done. We had the wiring harness, the air cleaner, the mass airflow sensor. We made a bunch of connections. We made a bunch of connections on the engine. We installed some lines, the hood bracket, and some other accessory pieces. So I think we're going to call that a close. I'm really happy with how things are going, and it's really great that you guys are following along through this journey. So stay tuned to the next one. We're going to continue working on this. So until then, have a good day.